Kingy's got the new laptop firing.
Yeah, here she is.
What are your first thoughts? What we saw last night?
Well, hardly shocked with the result and the way that it has gone. 72 points is probably a bit larger than what I thought coming into the game, but hardly shocked that the Dogs would do a number on St Kilda. They're at different stages. There's no doubt about that, and the Dogs tend to do this against the poorer teams in the competition. So they're 6 from 6 against bottom 10 teams, and they've got a strike rate of a percentage of almost 200. So it's scary what they do to those below them. The impact, the only talking point really from the game is the impact of Darcy on this team.
Correct.
And what it can do going forward.
Was he in your 5-5 on Monday?
Well, it was the 5 best performers for the year.
Was he in your 5-5?
He'd hardly played. He hadn't played, man. How could you have him in there?
He's one.
You changed the criteria.
He is one. He's the best player in the game by that far at the moment. It's not funny.
He has hardly played. How can you say that?
But when he does, he's the best player. It's the 5... It's the power rankings.
I see. You changed the
The
criteria.
5-5 is the power. That's what it is when you talk about teams.
On performance.
It's what it is when you talk about players. He's the best player in football by a mile at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't necessarily. I think he can get there. I don't think he's there today.
He's there.
But the impact on this group. So we're talking about competing against the top 4 or 5 teams in the competition to win this thing. Now, it might not be this year for the Dogs, but this guy is probably the biggest difference maker in the game. What he allows Norton to be, the reference point that he gives these crummers, the challenge that he provides to the opposition. There were so many times last night where 3 Saints defenders would go up because they just knew that one man was in trouble. Caminiti was against all odds to compete. So Wilkie's trying to help. The Ruckman's pushing back to help. Everyone's folding in on Darcy. It was almost like the Carey impact. You've got to get back to support. Got to get in front of Tony Lockett. 2, 3 guys investing. Got to get in front of Gary Ablett. 2, 3 guys. It just frees up so much in their forward line. Not that they need it. They're a pretty solid offensive machine, but this just changes the game.
5 marks inside forward 50 for Sam Darcy. I don't know how you stop it. I really don't. Maybe Sam Taylor is the only player that can go with him one-on-one and you'd have some reasonable confidence. I don't know if is he the only player with a one-on-one matchup that we currently have. I'm not sure.
He's not unbeatable.
No,
I think we're going a bit strong.
One-on-one, he's unbeatable.
Well, you've got to defeat him before the ball arrives. Your body work's got to be supreme. You've got to take him off the line. If you give him an unimpeded run and jump, you just can't compete. 3.9 metres. So you can't compete. So you've got to do your work early. You've got to check his hips. You've got to do all those things that the defenders have been able to get away with for years. And I just think when the umpires wise up that his arms are getting chopped every second marking contest, he will draw so many free kicks.
Well, he got a few.
No, he missed about 3.
He got 3.
But he missed about 3.
Yeah, and one he got that hit on the head, which but then straight after they paid a ridiculous free kick just to probably make up for that against Caminiti, whose arms briefly went around his hips. But yeah, it's a real issue. I feel like they are starting to get that connection with it and opening up that little pocket of space for him. Norton was much better. He got the Wilkie matchup, didn't touch the footy in the first quarter, but ended up being able to influence the game. So, yeah, I just think, as I've said for a lot of the time, their list is unbelievable. Their bottom 6 looked all right, Kingy.
No, their bottoms, you can't pair them in these games. Well, we're only talking about the games, we call them the T9. Against top 9 are the games that matter, and their bottom 6 get exposed. Okay. We've had this discussion.
I'll tell you whose bottom 6 didn't look good, and that's the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints, there's some work to do, isn't there?
From a list, did you think, well, they clearly didn't know that it was this bad when Ross got the job, and there's definitely been a change of language and all of that. He spoke last night about the fact that some teams have been rebuilding for 6-7 years. He said, I hope it doesn't take, we don't want it to take that long here, but it will take that long. It will, because that's how long it takes to rebuild a list. What are you going to do with Jack Steele? I mean, McRae, which we've spoken about a lot, is not the answer. Zach Jones, there's just so many players. Brad Hill running around in that side that probably shouldn't be there. So
Brad Hill's a discussion for them.
Yeah, a big discussion. Steele's a big discussion for them. I just think going after big fish at 1.7 is not the right timing.
Well, what do you want them to do?
I want them to rebuild through the draft.
They can do both.
They can do both. They can do both, but it's not going to help them significantly going to buy players from other clubs and splash.
Absolutely, it will.
You think, well, what to go from bottom 6 to what?
So you want them to just be uncompetitive, totally uncompetitive?
No, I don't think they're uncompetitive this year.
No, but if they don't go and if they don't get free agents and spend the money, they're just going to have a gap in their cap for what?
Yeah, well, I'd rather.
Nothing.
Well, I think you're going to have to finish low to get the access to the best players.
Yeah,
you don't want them finishing mid, sort of top end of the bottom.
So you want them to bottom out?
The 8. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I want them to bottom out. What do you want them to do? Just stay in football quicksand and get pick 8 in the draft every year? That's not. Where's that going to take them?
So, I wonder what St Kilda fans want. Is that what they want? To just throw the towel in and give up?
Well, it feels like It feels like that's the way they're talking anyway, isn't it? They're talking.
Oh no, they're
talking. What are they? They're not talking making finals next year. You think they're a genuine threat?
No,
next year, the year after.
It's not about this is where we disagree. It's not about making finals or anything else. It's building towards that next.
Absolutely,
premiership.
that's my point. You've got to be patient and you've got to build towards that.
Well, that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. I mean, the recent drafts, they've gone back to the draft to try and get some elite talent after missing it for a block of 4 to 5 years. So that window, that void that they've created for themselves is now hitting home hard. So this is why they can't afford to lose Nasiah. I don't care what he costs. He cannot be walking out the door. They can't be firing the bullets at the football club, which they've fired over the last 6 months, and then lose Nasiah.
Yeah.
They've got to find a way to keep him. And I still think they've got to go and get TDK because they've got to be game day competitive. I disagree with – is the gap between pick 5 and pick 10 that big?
Yeah, you'd have to go back and look at the success, but you need the multiple picks. You need multiple picks inside the top 5.
Yeah.
To build this properly.
So auction off Max King.
Trade
him to Collingwood, trade him to Melbourne, trade him to somewhere else.
Yeah, well, they signed the stupidest deal in history with Max King.
Get concerned with the finance. Let's talk about the
I'm talking about the length.
The pick.
I'm talking about the length.
We're trying to correct the pick.
Extending him when you didn't need to,
when
you already had 2 years. I don't know, but I think it's more you're gonna have good access to good picks because of where you are going to finish, and that will be you would think in the bottom 5.
Why would TDK go there?
Money.
Yeah, I know. I get that. Sorry. I'll rephrase it. Would you prefer to stay where you are and get a fraction less and potentially win a lot more football
games?
Big
game. You're either playing in front of 20,000 at Marvel on a Thursday or you're playing big games at the MCG like they did the previous week on a Sunday night in front of 77,000.
So I don't envy the position they're in, and I don't think anyone has the answer as to how to get out of this situation. The AFL cycle doesn't work for teams trapped in the middle. It doesn't. The list freedom that the managers have is clamped. And I think this is one of Greg Swan's greatest issues. Like, how do you allow a club to get out of this? I think mid-year trading is one way they can get more for what they've got. You know, they can create some urgency from other clubs and potentially get first-round picks where you would normally get second and all those sorts of things.
Well, we're going to speak to Cow Toomey about it. He's spoken about being able to buy picks, use your salary cap space to go and offer that to clubs.
It doesn't really work. We talked about that, but the realities don't work.
These are all mechanisms, though, in terms of thinking about how you make it easier for clubs like this to get out of what is genuine football quicksand and the easy way out of that. So we'll ask him if he's got some strategies, and if he was the Saints, what would you do? But Saints fans, are you ready to be patient again? You probably thought it was 1, 2, 3 years away from being competitive again. It's looking a little bit longer than that. For Toolkit Depot, Bosch's Spend and Get is on Thursday to Saturday, in store and online.
Can you answer me why no one will tag Bailey Dale?
Yeah, well, I was sort of having that discussion last night. You can't tag them all. So
he's been pretty important.
No, he's I'm not sure he's quite getting enough credit for how good he is. What he's really improved is his aerial ability as well.
You need a Mr. Miyagi
Yeah.
Wax on, wax off, Mr. Miyagi style. And I think Close from Geelong does that better than anyone in the competition. When Geelong got the ball, he's an attacker, and as soon as they lose it, bang, he's straight back onto Bailey Dale.
Yeah, I'll raise you with Keezer from Adelaide. Benny Keys is as good as doing that as well.
Yeah, maybe. But I've just seen Close do it against Bailey Dale in the last month. Kept him to 22 touches.
Yeah.
This guy, I mean, he was on track for another 50 about halfway through the first quarter.
He had 7 in like the first 4 minutes.
It's unbelievable.
What is going
So this is the beauty of the way they play. A lot of criticism for Bevo, the coach. But when you've got this stoppage arsenal, it does create other luxuries because the other teams, the opposition, want to put volume around stoppage. It frees up Bailey Dale. Nasiah Wanganeen-Millera.
Yep.
So last night, look, they want to give him the ball as often as possible, and we talk about his kicking a lot.
Yep.
10 turnovers cost 4 goals too.
Yes.
He gave away 2 goals in that first quarter and set the ball rolling for the Dogs.
I reckon he had 4 in the first quarter. He had some awful ones.
If he's going to be that player, he can't be the turnover king. If he's going to be the $1.2, $1.3 million product that every club's looking for, and I love him as a player, but he can't be going for targets like he went last night, corridor ball, early in game when it really hasn't settled. I just thought some of his kicking last night was way too daring and too risky for the state of the game.
Yep. All right, it is in the gun, a big edition, the biggest ever actually. Last week you had your Kangaroos in the gun. Weren't you sweating bullets?
Didn't that get tense for the lads?
Sweating bullets. I had myself in the gun for having Collingwood under 13.5 wins at the start of the year.
You had him in your 8, did you?
Stuffed that up, didn't have him in the 8. Completely butchered that one, so I was in the gun for that. I also had the Crows in the gun because they needed a scout.
That's right.
They got it.
Just. What about you at 3/4 time? I nearly played this back to you this week.
I wish you did.
Well, they've kicked 5 goals in 3 quarters. They've got to kick 5 in the last. They've got no hope of doing that.
Fair point in
they
the wet.
5 in the last.
Fair point, I would have thought. Brisbane should have kicked 6. In the gun is for Grays.com. It is Australia's leading online auction marketplace. Kingy, who is in the gun?
Well, for Grays, I am putting Charlie Curnow in the gun. I think it's about time we see Charlie flex.
Yeah.
And I think this is a banana peel game on the weekend.
You think it is?
I do. I don't think they're playing bad football at all, the Eagles. They're running gun game. Their system is really good. They're missing a couple of star factor players. I understand that. But I just haven't seen Charlie rip a game to shreds.
Been a while.
It's been a long time.
In fact, I think I had him in the gun 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, I think I did.
Well, there you go.
I said, kick us a bag, Charlie.
Well, I've done some deeper research this week, and I've had a look at the key forwards who have allowed the opposition to intercept mark against them.
I did see
matchup.
this on the midweek. I saw this online.
Yes, I know
midweek.
I know you don't want to say you're watching, but you're watching.
What did you call them?
Just say you watched it,
What
man.
did you call them?
It's not that shameful.
You had a name for them.
Well, I just think they're the aerial downhill skiers.
That was it.
If you don't want to fight the fight and bring the ball to ground, you're letting the team down.
I got in trouble for having a name to something.
Did you?
With Sheezy Ball from you. And
I'm not being personal about one player. I'm saying the whole lot of them.
Thought you were.
Nick Larkey, Aaron Norton, Eric Hipwood, Oliver Henry, Taylor Walker. Charlie Curnow is top 6 on this list. Now, there's no way with his athleticism he should be outmarked by his direct matchup. So I'm looking at Charlie to have a big, big day. So, Charlie, I've got you in the gun. Thanks to Grays Online. The gavel has dropped on him. Gone.
Gone for Charlie. Look, this is a big discussion that I need to have with you. And I'm not exactly sure who's in the gun. I suspect it's the AFL and the clubs who I'm putting in the gun. I want a royal commission.
Right.
I want a royal commission.
Sounds deep.
It is very deep.
Right.
We have a TV deal that goes until the end of 2031.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
How you could possibly contract a player beyond that is absolute rubbish. So I see that Port Adelaide have offered Miles Bergman 9 years. 9 years. So that would take him to, let's say, 2034. 3 years beyond the current TV deal, which I'm speaking to experts, not me, experts in the field.
You're speaking to experts.
Experts in the field saying
experts online.
They are not certain that the TV money is going to be greater than what it is right now. In fact, there's a real prospect that the TV money could come back. We always think that this continues to go and go and go up.
Which it will.
How you could possibly contract a player beyond 2031, Cozzy Pickett, Miles Bergman, whoever the hell it is, needs a royal commission.
Well, beyond the 2031s, I'll give you the list.
You can't contract a player beyond 2031.
There's a heap of them.
Hayden Young's one of them.
Pickett, Mac Andrew, Hayden Young, Noah Bolter, LDU, Connor Iden, Max King, Aaron Norton, Connor Rozee, Sam Taylor.
Completely ridiculous that clubs are taking the risk. Now, of course, coaches, Simon Goodwin, are going to say, sign Cozzy right now for as long as you possibly can. It's not going to be Simon Goodwin's problem. He's not going to be there in 9 years' time at Melbourne.
So you want to lose him?
I want a royal commission. No, I just want the AFL to come in and say, clubs, you can't be contracting players past 2031. That's when the TV deal ends.
It's not the AFL's job.
It should be.
It's not the AFL's job to tell a club how to run their business.
No, it is because it's the NBA's job.
Mind your own business.
The NBA limits how long you can sign a player for.
Yeah, but you can.
This is the NBA. If the NBA can do it, the AFL can do whatever they like.
They can do whatever they like.
They can set whatever rules they like.
It's a significant shift. A significant shift.
And that's okay. I think everyone would welcome that shift. So
I don't think they would. I don't think they'd all welcome it.
I've got the AFL, the clubs in the gun.
You don't know who you got in
I want a royal commission thanks to Grays.com. Going, gone.
No, I like it. I like where you're going.
Royal commission.
I just don't know how you're going to get there.
Miles Bergman, 9 years. Good player. Good, solid footballer.
So you want
9 years.
I
go.
get it. I get it. It's 5 years too long for me. I understand that.
Thank you.
But what we are now in a situation where clubs are offering these deals to rip them out. So you've got to match tenure. You've got to match.
So we're at the point where, as I said, it needs a royal commission, and the AFL's got to go, this is out of hand. We've got clubs contracting players 3 years beyond the current TV deal. It's about time we step in.
I take your challenge up on the money dropping for the next rights. I think you're only saying that because your boys can't afford to spend too much more.
You can't afford to go to the MCG, so clearly times are tough.
Things are sort of getting a little bit tight.
Clearly times are tough. You can't send a crew to the MCG to save 50 grand, so you do it in the studio. So I think that's not a great sign.
With our boys.
Grays.com, Australia's leading online auction marketplace. It's easy to buy and sell with Grays.
So I heard a great debate yesterday between Adam Simpson and Gerard Whateley. And they were talking about Cozzy Pickett. When you take 9 years at $1.4 million, what do you get? What does he need to become? What does he need to be to get good value for the Melbourne Football Club? Simo was of the opinion that he just needs to be a game breaker, a match winner, and allow the coach to use his magnet and his talents where he sees fit game day. And Gerard was of the opinion that he had to be a top 3 best and fairest, multiple best and fairest winner in the next 9 years.
Yeah.
Where do you sit?
Well, I think he is already what Adam is saying. I didn't hear the conversation, but he's already a game breaker. Put him where you need him. Centre bounce, forward, bang, impact, and the most important piece of your sort of structure and most important magnet. He's that already.
Yeah.
So I think he's already
happy with this.
I think he's already achieved that. No. I'm more with Gerard on. If you're going to invest that sort of money for that sort of time frame, you have to be a future Hall of Fame, multiple
Hall of Fame.
Of course you do. This is the highest contract we've ever seen. This is a huge investment for a player.
Do you think he'll be a Hall of Fame member?
I think he has a chance to be a Hall of Fame member, but to do that, you're going to have to be. Well, you're going to have to be a 4-time, 5-time All-Australian to get to that level.
And
that's where he needs to get to.
Yeah,
do you not?
I don't think. I think that's an unrealistic expectation.
Why? He's got everything. He's got everything you need to be a Cyril Rioli, who will be a Hall of Fame member type player.
Yeah, okay. I think this style of player is the Jordan De Goey style of player. They don't necessarily impact for you on a consistent week-to-week basis, but when they do, it's game over. Yeah. And in big games, they win your finals. They win your prelims. They win your grand finals. And I think that's the conversation.
Can he be their Toby Green?
Can he be their Toby Green?
I know he's a different type of player, but can he have that sort of impact? I think he can.
It's just a good discussion. What are you expecting to get? I think more of the same. And if you're playing at this sort of level, 2 out of every 3 weeks, I think the club would be happy with the 1.4. I mean, that's the value of that sort of player. The 9 years you can argue, but it's a good discussion. I just don't see him winning best and fairest. But then when you think about it, is he Melbourne's best player right now?
He's guys. I'm just laughing. Hutchie's house is like the Aussie Open. Every year he has a picture down the hallway says Nick. You know when they're walking down the tunnel and the previous winner is
they
there?
light up.
Sorry.
Do you think
it was good?
Is he right now better than Petrarca?
Right now he is, yes.
Is he better than Gawn?
Yeah. Well, you could argue that, but I mean, Gawn is now coming towards the latter stages, so he's more valuable than Gawn.
All right. So I think I'm more with Simo and you're more with Jared.
Yeah.
That sound fair?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Good chat.
All right, 0433 98 11 16 if you want to put something on the agenda.
Got another one for you. So last night we saw the sling tackle again. So it wasn't much of a sling.
Kennedy, yep.
Hunter Clark, I think it was, Kennedy in the
yep.
deck. And then he whips his own head into the ground.
Definitely whipped his own
and
head.
does a little fakey head grab of being hit, of being slung tackle. I need a free kick. Gets a free kick. Bounces up. Plays on.
Yep.
Nothing to see.
Nothing.
And I think he cons the umpire into a free kick. Can we agree that player needs to come from the ground? If you take the free kick for the head contact, you need to come to the ground to be assessed. And that will stop it in a heartbeat. Because players don't want to come for 4 or 5 minutes on the bench to be assessed.
Yeah, no, you've been hot on this. I think it's harder to police than perhaps you give it credit for, but the premise I agree.
It's easy to legislate.
But did he grab his head though?
100%. 100%
So the
grabbed his head.
minute you grab your head,
you're saying I've had head contact.
Struck.
Yep. I need to be assessed.
Because there was another one that they actually looked at with Kennedy as well, where he grabbed his head. He sort of bent over and got a sort of a glancing blow to the head, and he grabbed his head. And they were looking at the footage on the interchange bench. So anytime you grab your head,
well, with the sling,
you're off.
When you're drawing a free kick, when there's a potential to be faking, I want to just put a line through the fakers. They're driving me insane.
I thought, just on my agenda, I thought there was an interesting exchange last night between one of the umpires and a St Kilda player who we referred to as Jack. Don't know if it was Jack Steele or Jack McRae because they were both in the vicinity. He said he gave him a warning about the language. He said words to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing, be very careful how you're talking to me.
Right.
Is that needed, or is it's either abusive language free kick or it's let it go? Well, why are we?
They've kind of done that with you.
I understand that. Why are we warning players like they're in kindergarten about their language? You've either overstepped the line and it's abusive, pay a free kick, or it's nothing. I don't need a lecture from the umpires before a ball up.
I agree with that. Grant Thomas is strong on this. No warnings.
Just pay it. If it's over the line, if it crosses it.
He's forever said, why are the umpires even talking? Just blow the whistle. Like you don't need to converse in between decisions.
Yeah.
This is the call. This is what I've done. I'm not here to argue and debate it with you. They're the rules.
I sort of agree with that. And the other one for me is I went into your territory during the week.
The lab?
I've got a lot of players that I just love. Right? There's some people will say, are you a bit negative? But I can be very positive at times as well.
What time of the week's that?
I'm building a bank of players that, don't worry about Hutchie on the wall, that I'm putting these players' pictures on the walls at home.
Are you?
Yeah. One of them is Max Michaelini at Adelaide. Do you know that he has not been outmarked this year? Plays
on smaller types.
Kingy. No, he can play tall as well. Has not been outmarked this year. You've just given me all the key forwards that have been marked on, left, right and centre. You've given the Kernos, the Larkies, the Walkers.
Nortons.
your Biglands.
The Biglands.
Max Michaelini.
The Biglands at the end.
Can he go the whole year without having a mark taken on him in a one-on-one?
Of course he can. He's playing on undersized players.
Please.
Of course he can.
He plays tall and small. Anyway,
he's starting to recognise the
I thought you would have enjoyed that.
I do. I enjoy stats. I like when you come
I know you do. All right, that's it. We've got to take a break because my
Take a
time
break.
management this morning has been horrific. Signet powering AFL fans 24/7 with official AFL club banded power banks available at signet.com.
I don't care. I'm throwing this in. There's no way we should be playing a Friday night game in Tassie.
I agree.
No way.
You'll get the Tasmanians offended.
I don't care.
I said this on.
It's going to be 1 degree.
I said this
down
with Jared Healy last
7:40.
night, and the text machine just went bang.
I don't care.
All right, the Tassies,
I like
the Tasmanians
Ricky
have had
Gervais. I don't
a
care.
rough. Jack Revolt's going to be on your phone's going to light up. Jack Revolt's going to be texting you shortly.